Dr. Sarah Chen stared at her monitor in the dimly lit control room of the Allen Telescope Array, her coffee long forgotten. The signal pattern dancing across her screen defied every natural phenomenon she'd studied in her 15 years at SETI. Her hands trembled as she reached for her phone. "Director Matthews, you need to see this." Within hours, the quiet research facility transformed into a hub of frenetic activity. Teams of scientists huddled around displays, arguing over data analysis, while government officials arrived in black SUVs, their faces tight with concern. "It's definitely artificial," Sarah explained to the gathered crowd, pointing to the quantum signature patterns. "The signal operates on principles we've barely begun to understand. It's like finding a smartphone in ancient Rome." Director Matthews, a veteran of countless false alarms and misidentified phenomena, leaned forward, his weathered face illuminated by the screens. "And you're certain it's not terrestrial? The quantum entanglement patterns are millions of years ahead of our technology," Sarah replied, pulling up another diagram. "But here's the strange part. It's not directed at us. We're picking up what appears to be leaked radiation from a much larger transmission network, like overhearing a phone call we weren't meant to intercept." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had just become the equivalent of children discovering their parents' private conversation. Standard first contact protocols dictate we should observe and report to the UN Space Council, Matthews said, running a hand through his gray hair. "We need to approach this carefully, methodically." "Sir," Sarah interrupted, her voice urgent. "The signal, it's degrading. Whatever's generating it is failing. We have weeks, maybe months before it goes silent forever." Matthews shook his head. "That doesn't change protocol. The international community needs tow." "With all due respect, sir," Sarah stood up, her determination evident in every word. "By the time the UN finishes debating this, the signal will be gone. We need to act now." "And do what exactly?" Matthews challenged. "We can barely understand the basic principles behind this technology." Sarah smiled. "An idea forming. Then let's do what humans do best. Improvise. We may not have quantum computers advanced enough to decode this signal, but we have something better. 7 billion human minds connected by the internet." Within days, Sarah's team launched what they called Project Babel, releasing carefully selected portions of the signal data to the public through a gamified interface. Cryptographers, mathematicians, and puzzle enthusiasts worldwide tackled the challenge. University supercomputers ran alongside teenage coding prodigies' laptops. Social media buzzed with theories and breakthroughs. The scientific community was outraged. "This is reckless," declared Dr. Harrison Wade of MIT during an emergency conference. "You've turned first contact into a public spectacle." But Sarah's gamble paid off. Within weeks, patterns emerged from the chaos. A Pakistani teenager's music analysis algorithm identified structural similarities to emergency beacons. A retired Australian linguistics professor spotted mathematical constants that appeared across cultures. A Chinese quantum computing team developed a partial decryption protocol. As Sarah presented their findings to an emergency session of the UN Security Council, she couldn't help but smile at the absurdity of it all. The signal is indeed a distress call, but not in any conventional sense. It's part of an automated network designed to preserve knowledge. The system is failing after millions of years of operation. We're not just receiving a signal, we're witnessing the death of an ancient library of cosmic knowledge. The delegates erupted in discussion, but Sarah wasn't finished. "We've also detected a location. The source is within reach of our experimental fusion drives. We can mount a rescue mission." "Rescue?" The Chinese representative leaned forward. "Dr. Chen, our spaceflight capabilities are in their infancy. We barely have a permanent lunar base." "True," Sarah acknowledged. "But while we may lack advanced technology, we have something unique: human ingenuity and determination. We solved in weeks what their automated systems assumed would take centuries of technological advancement." The room buzzed with tension as Sarah delivered her final argument. This isn't just about saving ancient knowledge. This is humanity's chance to prove we belong among the stars. Not because we're the most advanced, but because we refuse to stand by while knowledge dies, even if that knowledge wasn't meant for us. As the council debated, Sarah's phone lit up with messages from her global network of citizen scientists, each eager to help with the next phase. Humanity had broken every first contact protocol in the book, but in doing so, they demonstrated something extraordinary: their unique ability to unite and innovate in the face of the unknown. The signal continued its lonely broadcast into space, its power failing bit by bit. But now, for the first time in millions of years, someone was listening. And more importantly, someone was coming to help, armed with nothing more than human determination and a flagrant disregard for the impossible. Admiral James Cooper stood at the viewport of the International Space Station's new quantum research lab, watching Earth rotate beneath him. The makeshift facility had been assembled in record time, a testament to humanity's ability to mobilize when properly motivated, or properly frightened. Dr. Chen's latest findings are concerning, Dr. Yuki Tanaka said, floating beside him. The quantum physicist's usual calm demeanor was shaken. The signal's encryption isn't just complex, it's deliberately hostile to organic computing systems. Cooper turned from the viewport. Hostile how? The quantum patterns are designed to prevent biological neural networks from processing them directly, Yuki explained, pulling up a holographic display. If we hadn't used our distributed computing network, if we tried to interface with it using conventional neural links, she trailed off. We'd have fried our brains, Cooper finished grimly. It's a defense system. More than that. Sarah Chen's voice came from the main screen as she joined them from ground control. We've decoded more of the signal's content. It's not just a library. It's a quarantine beacon. The implications hung heavy in the zero-gravity room. What they'd thought was a desperate cry for help was actually a warning to stay away. The civilization that built this, Sarah continued, they were called the precursors, as far as we can translate. They didn't die out. They sealed themselves away. The beacon was meant to preserve their knowledge while preventing less advanced species from accessing it prematurely. Less advanced species like us, Cooper said dryly. So we're essentially kids who found the grown-ups' locked diary and picked the lock. More like we found their quantum-encrypted safe, and instead of trying to crack it directly, we built a distributed global network of safe crackers, Yuki corrected with a hint of pride. Very human solution. But why quarantine themselves? Cooper asked. What were they hiding from? Sarah's expression grew serious. We found references to something they called the horizon, some kind of technological singularity that they believed would be inevitable if their knowledge spread too quickly. They sealed themselves away to prevent it from spreading. And now we're planning to go knock on their door, Cooper mused. The first human interstellar mission, and it's to break into an alien quarantine zone. The UN's going to love this. We don't have a choice, Sarah insisted. The quantum beacon is failing. When it goes, we lose our only chance to understand the precursor's warnings. If the horizon is real, we need to know what we're facing. Assuming we can even reach it in time, Yuki interjected. The Prometheus is an experimental vessel. We've never tested the fusion drives at the sustained levels we'll need. Cooper smiled grimly. Then we'll test them on the way. Humanity's pretty good at learning on the job. The next few weeks saw a flurry of activity unprecedented in human spaceflight history. The Prometheus, originally designed as a Mars exploration vessel, underwent radical modifications. Engineers worked around the clock, implementing solutions that ranged from brilliant to borderline insane. You want to use game console processors in parallel for the quantum shield. Cooper stared at the proposal from a team of Japanese engineers. They're efficient, readily available, and most importantly, not based on organic computing principles, Sarah explained. Sometimes the best solutions aren't the most elegant ones. As the launch date approached, More troubling discoveries emerged from the signal analysis. The quantum patterns contained fragments of data about other civilizations, species that had discovered similar beacons and attempted to access them. None of the stories had happy endings. They all tried to process the data directly, Sarah explained during the final briefing. They trusted their advanced neural interfaces, their organic quantum computers. The beacon's defenses turned their own technology against them. But we're too primitive to fall into that trap, Cooper said, understanding dawning. Our technological limitations are actually protecting us. Precisely. We're like bacteria that survive an antibiotic because we're a different type of organism than it was designed to kill. The launch day arrived under a cloud of controversy. Protesters gathered outside space centers worldwide, arguing that humanity wasn't ready for this leap. Scientists published papers warning of the dangers. Religious leaders debated the theological implications of breaking an alien quarantine. But as Cooper strapped into the Prometheus's command chair, he felt an odd sense of calm. Beside him, Yuki ran through pre-flight checks while Sarah's voice came through from mission control, steady and determined. All systems are green, Sarah reported. Though I should mention our global decoder network just found another warning in the signal. Apparently, the precursors considered it impossible for any species to reach their level of development without organic quantum computing. Cooper chuckled. Well, they never met humans. We're pretty good at doing impossible things the hard way. As the Prometheus's engines roared to life, Cooper couldn't help but wonder what other assumptions the precursors had made about technological progress. They'd created defenses against advanced civilizations, betting that no species could achieve interstellar travel without following their path of development. They never considered that some species might be just primitive enough, just stubborn enough, and just crazy enough to try it the hard way. The Prometheus lifted off into the night sky, carrying humanity's hopes and fears toward a destination that was never meant to be found, protected by their own technological limitations and armed with nothing but human ingenuity and determination. 3 months into their journey, the Prometheus's mess hall had become an impromptu command center. Empty coffee cups littered the tables, surrounded by tablets displaying constantly updating data streams from their global support network back on Earth. The fusion drives are holding, Chief Engineer Maya Rodriguez reported, her dark circles matching everyone else's. Though I had to raid the gaming consoles for more processors again. Who knew retro hardware would be so vital to humanity's first interstellar mission? At least the shield modifications are working, Yuki added, studying quantum readings. Every time we hit a new defense layer, our distributed processing network adapts. The precursors never imagined their security system would be defeated by millions of linked consumer electronics. Cooper watched his crew with pride. They'd been pushed to their limits and beyond. Yet their determination never wavered. The Prometheus itself was barely recognizable from its original design, modified so extensively it resembled a mechanical chimera. New data packet from Earth, Sarah's voice came through, delayed by the growing distance. The global network made another breakthrough. The quantum barriers we're encountering, they're not just defenses. They're tests. Tests. Cooper leaned forward. What kind of tests? The precursors believed that any species advanced enough to reach them would have to be warned about the horizon. But they also believed that any species primitive enough to avoid their defensive systems would be too primitive to understand the warning. So they created a paradox, Yuki realized, a lock that could only be opened by someone who shouldn't be able to open it. And we're picking that lock with the technological equivalent of stone tools and really good teamwork, Maya grinned. The moment of levity was interrupted by a violent shudder through the ship. Warning lights flashed as new quantum signatures flooded their sensors. We've got company, Cooper announced, rushing to the bridge with the others. Multiple vessels approaching at high speed. Energy signatures unlike anything we've seen. On the main screen, sleek ships of clearly alien design emerged from what appeared to be quantum tunnels. Their hulls rippled with organic patterns, suggesting the neural-based technology that humanity had been forced to avoid. They're hailing us, Communications Officer David Chen reported. Universal Translator is having trouble, but they're warning us to turn back. They're saying we're in violation of the precursor quarantine zone. More advanced species who found the beacons, Sarah's delayed voice provided context. They must have established themselves as guardians, preventing others from making their mistakes. The alien vessels surrounded the Prometheus, their organic quantum drives making them seem almost alive compared to the human ship's jerry-rigged systems. They're scanning us, Yuki reported, then laughed suddenly. And they're very confused. Their sensors are designed to detect advanced quantum systems. To them, we must look like we're flying through space in a calculator. Cooper opened a channel. This is Admiral James Cooper of the Earth vessel Prometheus. We've detected that the precursor beacon is failing. We're here to help. The response came in broken English, apparently translated through their advanced systems. Your species is not ready. The knowledge within is beyond your development. Attempting to access it will bring destruction. With respect, Cooper replied, we've already accessed it. Our methods are unconventional, but effective. The beacon's failure threatens everyone, not just us. Let us help. There was a long pause before the alien response came. Impossible. Your technology is primitive. You cannot have bypassed the quantum barriers. Maya snorted. Shows what they know about the processing power of 50 million linked gaming consoles. The alien ships maintain their position, their organic hulls pulsing with energy. You will submit to boarding and inspection. If you have truly accessed the beacon's data, you must be contained before you trigger the horizon. Cooper shared a look with his crew. They'd known this mission would be dangerous, but being arrested by an alien quarantine force hadn't been in the mission parameters. Sarah, he called back to Earth. Any suggestions? The response took several minutes to arrive. The network just decoded more of the beacon's data. The precursor's greatest fear wasn't just technological advancement. It was technological advancement without wisdom. The tests weren't just about capability. They were about approach. Cooper smiled slowly. And what's wiser than knowing your own limitations and finding creative ways around them? He opened the channel to the alien vessels again. We propose a compromise. Let us show you our methods. If we're right about the beacon's condition, you need our help whether you trust us or not. The alien's response was swift and dismissive. Your primitive technology cannot possibly. Our primitive technology is exactly why we succeeded where you failed, Cooper interrupted. Sometimes the simplest solution is the best one. Let us prove it. The standoff lasted for tense minutes as the alien ships maintained their positions. Finally, a new message came through. You will be escorted to the beacon. Any deviation will result in immediate destruction. We will observe your methods. If you have deceived us. Understood, Cooper replied. He turned to his crew. Well, looks like we're about to show some advanced aliens how humans solve problems. Maya, fire up those gaming console processors. Yuki, get ready to show them what human quantum physics looks like. Sarah, tell the folks back home we might be bringing some guests to the party. The Prometheus moved forward under escort, its cobbled-together systems humming with energy. They were about to either make history or start an interstellar incident. Knowing humans, Cooper mused, probably both. The precursor beacon hung in space like a fractured crystal, its quantum lattices visibly deteriorating. Up close, it dwarfed both the Prometheus and their alien escorts, its intricate patterns suggesting technological principles humanity had yet to dream of. Energy patterns are destabilizing, Yuki reported from her station. The beacon's quantum core is approaching critical failure. We have hours at most. The alien vessels maintained their defensive formation around the Prometheus. Their earlier messages had made their skepticism clear. They were only allowing this because they had no better options. Beginning approach, Maya announced, her hand steady on the controls despite the tension. Our shield modifications are holding against the beacon's automated defenses. Sometimes being too primitive to register as a threat has its advantages. Cooper opened a channel to their escorts. We're going to attempt direct interface with the beacon's maintenance systems. Request permission to proceed. The response came after a deliberate pause. Granted, but be warned, any sign of quantum contamination, and we will not hesitate to eliminate the threat. Friendly bunch, David muttered from communications. Sarah's voice came through from Earth, delayed but clear. The global network has finished their analysis. The beacon's core systems are protected by what we're calling the Guardian, an AI construct designed to test any species attempting access. But it's not what we expected. How so? Cooper asked, watching as they drew closer to the massive structure. It doesn't just test technological capability. According to what we've decoded, it tests wisdom, understanding, the ability to know when not to use advanced technology. The Prometheus shuddered as it passed through another quantum barrier. On their screens, the beacon's internal systems began to power up, responding to their presence. Multiple quantum signatures detected. Yuki called out, "Something's scanning us." Wait, these patterns, they're similar to human brainwaves. A new presence filled their communications, neither human nor like their alien escorts. The voice seemed to resonate directly in their minds, yet their primitive systems somehow translated it. ID anti-HFY yang. Anomalidtt. Approach vector NDITAT's technological civilization, but QUantum signature shows your singular development. Contradiction. Explain. Cooper took a deep breath. I am Admiral James Cooper of Earth. We've come to help repair the beacon. Impossible. Your species lacks necessary advancement. Quantum processing capabilities. Minimal. Neural interface technology. Primitive. Technological development. Insufficient. That's precisely why we're here, Cooper replied. We found a different way. The Guardian's presence seemed to intensify, probing their systems. Analyzing. DDTKTD Distributed Processing Network. Primitive electronic systems. Linhinki in parallel. Inefficient. ILOJKL. Yet, functional. Sometimes the best solutions aren't the most advanced ones, Maya offered. We couldn't crack the quantum encryption, so we shared it with our entire planet. Millions of humans working together, using basic computers in new ways. Cooperative problem solving DTTCTD. Unusual APPR. Priorikiqorazor protocols. NDIC 8DV8 NCD species. DVELOP NDVEGUL QUANTUM processing before achieving interstellar travel. Sarah's voice came through. We did it differently. We put human minds together instead of trying to advance them individually. When we couldn't understand something, we shared it. When we couldn't process it, we broke it down into pieces everyone could help with. The Guardian was silent for a long moment, analyzing human historical database. Technological development PATERN, unprecedented. Social cooperation PRIBORI, TICD, over neural advancement. Potential IMPLICATIONS, significant. Suddenly, the beacon's quantum field shifted, creating what looked like a doorway. Trial of FARED. Approach maintenance core. Demonstrate capability. The alien escorts broke their silence. This is unprecedented. The Guardian has never offered direct access to a pre-singular species. Cooper smiled. Maybe it's time for some new precedents. He turned to his crew. Maya, take us in. Yuki, keep those shields modified. Let's stay too primitive to trigger any defenses. Sarah, tell the global network to stand by. We might need everyone's help for this. The Prometheus moved forward into the quantum aperture, its cobbled-together systems humming with energy. The ship's interior lights flickered as they passed through layers of energy fields designed to stop far more advanced vessels. "The maintenance core is ahead," Yuki reported. "But these readings, the quantum decay is worse than we thought. The entire system is on the verge of collapse." "Prescient is illusion," the Guardian commanded. "Die Moment Strike Wisdom." Cooper looked at his crew, then at the readouts showing their connection to Earth's global network. Millions of humans waiting to help, using technology that the precursors would have considered little better than stone tools. "We'll show you how humans fix things," he said. "We might not have the most advanced technology, but we've got something better: creativity, determination, and each other. Maya, power up those gaming console processors. Yuki, start the quantum analysis. Sarah, tell everyone back home it's time to show the galaxy what humanity can do." The maintenance core loomed before them, its quantum matrix a complex web of failing light. They had one chance to prove that sometimes the wisest solution isn't the most advanced one, and that humanity's greatest strength was never its technology, but its ability to work together.